Just wanted to make sure I was recording, because I don't know if you know, I had a mishap a few weeks ago.
I heard that. But, I mean, those things are going to happen, whether it's, your fifth one or your, 50th, right? I mean...
Wouldn't you love a backstage pass to candid discussions at the crossroads of motherhood, justice, community, entrepreneurship, mentoring, and success? Host Melissa Rosenblum is one of only a few women certified by the Supreme Court of New Jersey as a criminal trial attorney. When you add kids, a booming law business, and a little black book full of subject matter experts, you've got the Mighty MERP podcast. That's Mighty, MERP.com.
Hi, this is Melissa Rosenblum, host of the Mighty MERP podcast. I'm really excited today to be speaking to Jill Roth Gutman. She is an attorney and she is a new business owner who just opened up, I think the best way to describe it is a consulting firm. Is that correct, Jill?
Hi, yes. I would say a consulting law firm is probably, the best way to say that. So thank you for having me.
Welcome. I'm really excited. We've had this on the calendar for about a month now.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of nice to do it in person.
I would agree, rather than over the phone or virtually. It's nice to see someone face to face.
I know. Well, we've talked on the phone and we've also talked virtually. I think this is the first time we've met face to face.
Yep, first time. Yeah, which is so nice.
So before I delve into the why did you become a lawyer and all of that, could you explain the type of law firm that you have? Because it's pretty different than the type of law firm that I have. When I tell people I'm a criminal defense attorney, they understand.
Yeah, one advantage that you definitely have over me in that aspect, because when I talk about what I do, it's certainly a little outside the box from the norm and from what I was doing before. So it's a virtual law firm. So I'm able to help people all over the state of New Jersey. My practice is just in New Jersey, so not Pennsylvania or New York. Sorry, everyone. And it really focuses on child welfare. So there's two main aspects to it. The first is people who are interested in becoming foster parents or foster to adopt parents and really learning about what is that system like from an objective point of view before they call the state, or maybe before they decide to even call a private adoption agency. So they really have a better understanding of the differences between the two. And then the second part is people who are already doing the caregiving, the day-to-day heavy lifting of the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, maybe the adult siblings, the foster parents who we refer to as resource parents, and really helping them navigate the system from more behind the scenes and consulting for them. So all about timelines, licensing, supervision, visitation, kinship, legal guardianship, adoption, all of it.
So before your law firm is pretty new, it's fair to say.
Yeah, it's only a few months old. Yep.
Okay. And so prior to opening up your own law firm, what was your specialty?
So my specialty was actually being a law guardian. So I spent over 13 years representing the children in the foster system, which was amazing. So
I was about to say, you need to explain what a law guardian really does, because I think even other lawyers who don't work in this area of law probably don't understand who your clients are and how you're advocating for them.
Yeah, so when a case opens up, and if it's litigated, part of the Division of Child Protection of Permanency, DCPP, formerly DYFS, everybody calls it DYFS, or the division.
Why does no one change that? I mean, it's been years now. It's been changed for...
It's been a long time, and I would say their rebranding did not work because nobody calls it that. And I find that every time I refer to them, I need to put in parentheses, formerly DYFS, because people just don't know. Not really sure why, but they just don't. So, and even people that work in the system and are really familiar with it, everybody calls it DYFS still. But so basically, when a case opens up, though, just circling back to that, children are appointed their own attorney, and that to represent them and advocate for what they want, their wishes. It's true advocacy kind of work, not best interest, which a lot of people mix up. And that's what I had the honor of doing for so long.
And so you would be advocating for children that were in the foster care system or being supervised in some way by the division, DCPP. How old were is it from newborn all the way up to 18? Was it every age child that you were representing or advocating for?
Yeah, so children that are in the foster system who are in foster care, but also for care and supervision cases too. If they just have an open litigated case, they are also granted a law guardian. So in both circumstances, I represented both of those types of children. And it is newborn all the way actually up to 21 years old, because between 18 and 21 years old, if you're still in the system, you can enter into a contract and have to do a certain amount of either school or working, some kind of combination. It used to be 40 hours. Now it's only 20 hours, which is really such a blessing because it's very hard to have individuals between 18 and 21 really doing 40 full hours a week of school or working full time, depending on their situation.
Right. So, I mean, my mind is racing because I have clients that are, kind of aging out of the system. And the one thing I do know, and I do not handle the specific area of law, is I always advocate for them to stay in the system so that they can obtain the services they need to make the transition from being a child to an adult. And, becoming an adult is difficult when you don't have someone teaching you how to be an adult. And so the services, I always say, stay in the system, keep getting the services, you're entitled to it.
I used to say the same thing. And listen, you made it this far. You've dealt with it for this many years. You might as well reap some benefits, and the benefit is some financial assistance,
housing,
health insurance, somebody to help you learn how to fill out applications or how to fill out a FAFSA form or how to, how to go on an interview. There's just so many resources out there. And so it's really beneficial for someone to stay in.
And there's just so many things that young people don't know. And when I say young people, I'm saying 18 to 22. As a mom of 4 kids within that range, 18 to 22, I keep in my head every time they say, well, I don't know how to do that, I have to go, it's like the spoon. They didn't know how to use a spoon until I taught it to them. And this week, one of my kids needed to get blood work, and I said, just go to the lab. And they said, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so I went with them and I showed them, and then I was like, there's the spoon. I've just shown you how to use the spoon. You will not need me to do this again. So I think, it must be like so much harder for someone not to have to ask those questions to, or someone, not knowing how to fill out an application. FOSFA is a hard application for adults, let alone, someone who's 18.
Right. Or just opening a bank account. There's all different things. There's life skills that when they're teenagers, they're supposed to be put in a life skills class, but there's always a wait list. And so by the time they're 18, you hope they've gone to the life skills classes. But there's so many resources for between 18 and 21 that for the individuals who are open to it, they can really go really far with it. I've had clients, obtain, really great jobs, and I've had clients graduate college, and, it's just exciting to see, where they are. I've had clients who have had children of their own, but had their own place to stay and are really, breaking that cycle and, really becoming like such amazing parents, even though they're young parents. It's just, they're just really trying to do, the best they can. And, those extra opportunities are really there.
So when you went to law school, did you know this was the area of law that you wanted?
No, not at all. I took a few years off before I went to law school, just to make sure I wanted to go.
I'm gonna take you back even further than that. Okay, before we get to the law school and the determination, tell me your origin story, sort of where you grew up and where you went to college and what you thought you wanted to do when you grew up.
Well, I'm not really sure what I wanted to do when I was pretty young. My parents always said to me, you want to do something that you wake up every day and you enjoy doing and going to work to do. So whatever you choose, make sure you feel that way in the morning. And I always kind of added on to that. I want to do something where I feel like I'm contributing. And just, not just for myself, but for the community at large. And so in high school, I took this political class and did, Model UN and mock trial. And then I was a government and politics major and women's studies major at the University of Maryland, College Park. Go Terps for anybody that's a Terp fan. And then I thought I wanted to go that route still, and then all of a sudden, one day, I was just like, I don't know if I want to be a lawyer. Maybe I want to be a professor. I loved my women's studies classes and race relation classes, and that was really a primary focus of what I did during college. And so I was like, maybe I want to teach. And then I just decided I should take some time off of school and really try to figure out what I want to do before I'm spending all this time and all this money and all this energy.
Right. Because either route, if you want to teach and become a professor, that's a lot of school.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to law school, that's a lot of school.
Yeah.
So what did you do right after college?
I tried all sorts of other jobs because I was like, nah, I don't want to be a lawyer. So I tried marketing. I tried human resources. I did some volunteer work, and I just did a ton of stuff. So part of me was like, maybe I want to be a social worker. And I was really kind of all over the place.
So did you have a job and then you were like, okay, check it off the list, I do not want to do that? Or had a job and was like, oh, maybe, was it?
I would say there were things that I was like, check it off the list. I'm not interested. I thought, okay, maybe I want to, with the marketing. Not really interested. What's interesting is now I do all of my own marketing, but I'm enjoying it and it's totally different and I'm doing whatever I want and can be creative. When you're working for someone else, you're doing what they want. And marketing 25 years ago and marketing now are very, very different. I was doing print marketing and newspaper, and calling places and doing, totally different type of work.
Well, any calling of any place for me would create such anxiety that I'd probably say, nope, not for me. Everything else would be fine, but the cold calls or calling, no.
And the marketing, it was interesting. I actually did that for a national organization for women. So I thought, if I was doing marketing for a place that I really felt passionate about, maybe that would be the right fit. But obviously, I love that organization. Just marketing was not the right fit for me.
Were you in New York at that?
I was in DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I decided I'm going to try to work at a law firm because that's what I had been thinking about all these years ago. So I worked at a law firm and went, okay, I'm pretty much doing, the attorney's jobs for them, and I should be getting paid more than, $25,000 a year doing this.
Were you considered a paralegal or just a legal secretary? I don't mean just, I mean, did they give you a title that, you were doing the work, but...
I was considered a legal assistant, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
And what type of law?
I was doing collections then, and because that's what the opening was for. So, and it was not something I was interested in, but I did learn how to do some really interesting things like skip tracing and looking people up and figuring out where people lived and stuff like that, which ended up being really useful as time went on, and I am in the field that I'm in now, and I'm was searching for relatives, how do you look people up and find them and things like that? And now it's so much easier than it used to be.
Right. So you refined your investigation skills prior to law school, prior to working as a lawyer, of finding people. That's neat.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening in. Stay tuned for the next part in this conversation. Mighty MERP is available on iTunes, Spotify, and all your favorite apps and players. But the best way to experience the show is to visit mightymerp.com. That's mightymerp.com.